On a powerful new episode of Fox's The Resident tonight, a mother experiences complications after a routine C-section, but doctors and nurses are slow to act. Take a look.
Leah keeps saying her stomach hurts.
How are you feeling, Mrs. Davies?
Her pressure's a little low, but in the range of normal, especially after a C-section.
We'll be right back.
That much blood in the catheter is not normal.
Well, it's a story inspired by what really happened to Charles Johnson and his wife Kira. He's here this morning to talk about that episode and what he's doing to improve maternal care here in Georgia. Welcome to Good Day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you here with us.
Definitely.
This is really important to talk about.
Absolutely.
It truly is. So let's first start by having you share a little bit of you and Kira's story.
Right. So I was lucky enough to meet a woman that absolutely changed my life. You know, my wife Kira, we're talking about a woman that was a pilot that spoke 5 languages fluently, that ran marathons, and we were fortunate enough to welcome our first son Charles in 2014. We were overjoyed, and we thank you so much. We found we welcomed our second son Langston in April of 2016. And so we had recently located, we're Georgia natives, so it's good to be home, but we had recently located to Los Angeles and relocated to Los Angeles, and we were under the impression, we really believed that Cedars-Sinai Hospital was the best place, one of the best places in the country to have a baby.
It's the one you always hear about.
The one you always
Yes.
hear about, right? So we went in April 12th of 2016 for what was supposed to be a routine scheduled C-section at our doctor's recommendation. And we were expecting it to be the happiest day of our lives, and we walked right into a nightmare. Kira went in shortly after the procedure. We noticed that she was showing signs of hemorrhaging internally. I actually recognized that there was blood in her catheter, which even just watching that scene, it's tough, and brought it to the attention of the doctors and nurses at Cedars-Sinai. They came and assessed her. And in the interest of time, I'll condense what happened. Long story short, she was allowed to bleed and hemorrhage internally for more than 10 hours before the staff at Cedars-Sinai took action. When they finally took Kira back to surgery, after we'd been begging and pleading, my entire family, just for them to do something, when they finally opened her up, there were 3.5 liters of blood in Kira's abdomen. And her heart stopped immediately. And you know, every day I have to deal with the fact there's nothing we can do to bring Kira back, but the highest honor we can pay Kira and the thousands of women that have died due to maternal complications is to do everything we can to make sure we send other mothers home with their precious babies.
Yeah, seriously. And you know, during the break, you and I were talking about this is not something that you hear about a lot. It happens though, but it's not talked about.
Right. So one of the things that, like myself, people aren't aware of is the United States actually leads the civilized world in women dying from complications from childbirth. Even more troubling than that is African American women are dying 4 times as much as their Caucasian counterparts, right? So in this country we have an abundance of resources. We're the only country that over the past 20 years, our maternal death rate has skyrocketed while other countries have dropped.
Yeah, it's sad. It truly is.
It really is.
The numbers are startling. And we're going to talk in just a moment about what you're doing to help change that, working with the legislature. But first I want to talk about this episode of The Resident based on your story, on your wife's story.
Yeah, so this is an episode that's inspired by Kira's true story. I actually got an email out of the blue from an executive named Marina Singh, who's the vice president of Fox, and she reached out and she said that somebody at Fox had gotten a hold of my testimony to Congress. I'm sure we'll chat about that. And that they were really wanting to examine the maternal mortality crisis on The Resident. And I was like, okay. And then they went on to say that they would like to do an episode inspired by Kira's true story and then dedicate the episode to Kira. So I was just blown away. I can't say enough about this process. I've had the opportunity to work with them developing the script. It's actually had a chance because the show, some of your viewers may not know, actually shoots right here in Conyers. So I was able to be on the set, extremely involved. And
hands-on,
you were hands-on, right? And I'm not sure, I mean, they actually were so committed to getting this right. There were 12 drafts of this script done.
Wow.
And phenomenal working with the entire team, working with them. Such talented writers, actors. I mean, it couldn't have been a more wonderful experience. And we're just so grateful for them to pouring their gifts into making this story come to life.
Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation starter. Like this will have people talking about the story that maybe never even had heard about it happening before. So very important. Have to ask you, how are your boys doing now?
They're doing awesome. So they are the 2 coolest little guys. They have all the best parts of their mom. So Langston actually just turned 3 on Friday, and Charles is 4 years old. Yeah, that's actually a trip to Washington we took together. And there's never a dull moment with those two, but they're a lot of fun. Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank
And I
you.
also want to mention the organization For Kira for Moms.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. So For Kira for Moms is an organization that we started in Kira's honor, and our mission is to fight to bring the maternal mortality crisis to an end.
Okay, and you've been doing that
Yeah,
all over
so
the place, and here in Georgia as
absolutely.
well.
So one of the things here in Georgia, we've been working with the local legislature and a lot of advocacy groups to help. We've got a lot of work to do in Georgia. Georgia actually leads the nation in maternal deaths.
Wow.
And we're actually 49th in infant mortality.
Wow.
Right here in Georgia.
Nation, though.
Yeah. So we've been working, but there's a lot of people working really hard right here. Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies Coalition of Georgia, the March of Dimes, a lot of great groups that are working with us to turn this around right here in Georgia.
Doing a lot of good work, putting a face really on the story that needs to be told. Charles,
Absolutely.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you so much
coming
for having us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
pleasure to meet
Thank
you.
you.
And The Resident airs tonight at 8 right here on Fox 5.